Never in my life did I think I would be ever addressing a subject like this, especially as somebody who grew up as a habitual people pleaser, an absolute people pleasing fiend, an addict to the pleasing of people. Now, I grew up as an actor. From the age of 2 to the age of 11 to 12, I was acting. I was in a commercial at 2 years old, fell in love with it. I was thrown into acting classes at school, out of school, getting paid for acting, getting accolades, etc. My entire world was built around really competitive acting as well as performative acting on the stage for, money, for whatever it may be, right? I was getting my validation, my highest levels of validation, almost all sources of validation through acting, which basically meant the better I could pretend, the more I would be liked. So it was easy for me to find myself becoming somebody who found their sense of self-worth, of their value, from acting as something or someone else. Now, don't get me wrong, I am still in love with the craft. I love acting. I love writing just as much, if not more so, than acting. But I do love it. I love the craft of it. I love what it can do for people. I love the emotions that can be compelled in order to inspire, etc. But one thing I had to really internalize was my need to be liked was ruining my life. The older I got, the stronger the desire. The older I got, the more I needed of that drug of external validation. And that led me down a trajectory where, I ended up from really 13 or 14 years old to around 19 years old on drugs, running around in the streets, running around with a crowd of individuals who that was the life that they had chosen for themselves. And I became one of those individuals naturally because you become what you surround yourself with. And so I found myself in a place where I was doing everything possible to be liked. And I know this isn't strange for any kid in their teens, but it led me to a place where I literally put myself in danger to simply be liked, right? For those around me to accept me, for those around me to see me as cool. We're rolling around at parties, intoxicated, driving the cars and going from place to place, putting our lives on the lines every single day, willing and dealing, doing things that would put us in danger every single day. For the entirety of the day, everything was basically illegal activities. And the reason we did those things was because we wanted to create a perception to people of who we were. We wanted an identity that would have us liked. Even though we felt like we were quote unquote rebels, we were actually still seeking our sense of validation from those around us by doing exactly what we were doing. As dangerous as, out there as it may have seemed, all of it was to be liked, all of it. So there's no way that you can tell me that you have never found yourself in a place where you are doing the things you are doing because you want to be liked. Now, it's more obvious in this day and age, right? And you may even think to yourself, wow, look at this guy talking about, don't care about being liked or why being liked isn't good or whatever, because you're creating content, so obviously you want to be liked. That's not necessarily the case, at least not anymore, right? The difference now is this is something I love. This is something I'm deeply passionate about. I have to do this. I'm so compelled to create content, to put messages out there, to speak to my people, right? To engage, to help people get from where they are to where they truly want to be, just as I'm doing for myself within my own life. These are things I'm deeply passionate about, but I no longer get my sense of true validation, internal feelings of fulfillment from whether you are going to click that like button or not. Whereas back in the day, that's the only way I could get my sense of validation. Now, let's get to this thing of why it's actually not a positive thing to be liked by everybody specifically. And that's because to be liked inherently means that people are accepting of you. And in order for somebody to accept you, they have to see you as a good or a positive within their own paradigm or within their own perspective. So in order for you to be liked by a specific group of individuals, you probably have to share their same ideology, right? The way that they think, the way that they move, the way that they believe, the mentalities that they have, the way that they dress, maybe with external factors. But there's some element of that group that you have to match in order for them to quote unquote like you. There's something you have to basically validate or affirm within them that they see in you. If you're doing that for everybody, if you are the validation or the affirmation for everybody, if you are mirroring everybody, a chameleon as I used to be, you're faking. You're wearing masks, you're pretending, and in essence, you are not being the truest version of yourself. None of those are the truest version of yourself. Every single one of them is an attempt for other people to see you as one of them in order for you to be validated in their thumbs up, in their patting you on the back. That's the truth. There is nothing virtuous about everybody liking you. Even those of us who have, that savior complex, right? That martyr complex. I'm going to save everybody. I'm going to save the world. I'm going to help everybody. Our Enneagram 2s, right? Our helpers, our caregivers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Our Marthas, our do-everythingers for everybody else. But you only end up resentful. You only end up jaded time and time again because you offered up your quote-unquote help. And now you find yourself in predicaments. You find yourself in situations where it's not being repaid. And so you hold on to that resentment. You pity yourself. And that all comes as a result of trying to be liked. You do things for people in order for them to give you that thumbs up, to let you know that you are good enough. You know what? You are worthy of love. Today, you're worthy. Because you cleaned up those dishes and you put away the clothes and you did this for the kids or you did this for the event, you did this for the school. We appreciate you. And so you go through life looking for gold stars to be placed on your forehead. You're like a little puppy. You're running around looking for somebody to pet you, somebody to pat you on the back, somebody to scrub you on your belly, somebody to affirm you. And in the seeking of that affirmation, you lose who you truly are. There was a time before your adolescence, actually. It actually shows itself a little bit in adolescence again as quote unquote rebellion. But there's a time when you are an infant and you start to develop more of a personality. By the time you're like 1 or 2 years old, they call it terrible twos. You're still looking to hold on to some individuality, right? At least for most kids. I have seen kids by 2 years old. They're so proper, put together, already know how to play the whole game, the whole system. Probably like I was at 2 years old in a commercial, right? That probably was what happened to me. But there's still semblances of that individuality that live in a child. But even those oftentimes get stripped away. And so what the child does as a natural reaction is look to conform in order for them not to be kicked out the tribe, in order for them not to be scrutinized, not to be ridiculed, not to be seen by those who are in charge of taking care of them as somebody who is not worthy of love, of attention. And so what do we do for attention? We do whatever mama, whatever daddy, auntie, sister, cousins, nieces, whoever. We do whatever it takes for those around us to accept us. Anything to be liked, including giving our free will, free autonomy, the right to be ourselves, that authentic aspect of what makes us us, the uniqueness of life. We give that up, we trade it in, we deny it, we absolutely neglect it, and we pick up everybody else's likes. And now we live in a generation where you get to see it in the physical, right? You go into your social media, you post the picture, right? You put up the short, you post or repost somebody else's post, whatever it looks like, waiting for somebody to, boom, agree. Because that makes your thoughts valid. Boom, as soon as they like it, now you're valid. Boom. Trust me, I have found myself in this pattern multitudes of times. Imagine being somebody who literally, this is basically your living. This is your life, right? This is what you do. Do you think I haven't caught myself in cycles of where is my next like coming from? Where's my next hit of validation coming from? And again, as an individual who helps people literally make these drastic transitions in their life, from wherever they are into a higher state of consciousness, into a higher state of healing, do you think I haven't looked to, oh man, I better help this person, I better save this person, otherwise I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, right? I had this conversation just this afternoon with my Uncle Bobby. Shout out to Coach Bobby Bluford. Make sure to check him out on YouTube, follow his page, follow him on Instagram. Incredible man. We had a conversation and he was telling me, that he had this feeling, well, he is a motivational speaker, but he's been in the fitness world forever. One of the most in shape people, especially for his age in the world. And he said, I used to, yell at my students or yell at my clients because I wanted them to get the results. I wanted them to do better. But really, it was because I was afraid that I would look like I'm not good enough if I didn't get them to do whatever it is that I needed them to do to get that result. If they didn't follow through on their action plan, it would look bad on me. Not to everybody else, but to me. It would make me feel, or it would validate the feelings of inadequacy within me. And so us looking to be liked, us seeking a pathway for others to affirm us is one of the most dangerous things, the most dangerous habits that we can form in our lives or that we can perpetuate within our lives, because most of us have already formed that habit. Almost all of us as humans at some point in time have created, those neural pathways of I want to be liked. And the few who haven't are usually those who are outcasts in school, right? Who are seen as difficult, or people look at them and think they're strange or weirdos, right? Why does that person do what they do? They're oftentimes not the ones who are celebrated, if at all. And then there comes a certain point in life, if that person continues to live in their authenticity, that they become the person who's now admired, revered, and envied at the same time. The most original individuals in this world always stand out as shining stars at some point in time because they were not willing to stick to the status quo. And so when I say being liked isn't a good thing, or being liked is no good for you, I mean on multiple spectrums. Not only is it invalidating your own worthiness and continue to perpetuate that belief system, but you are also missing out on the opportunity to shine like you were born to shine, to live the life in which you were designed to live, which is a life of abundance, a life of joy, happiness, peace, prosperity. You are neglecting all of those when you are throwing away your authenticity and validating your insecurity. And so that's just the message for today. It's a real straightforward, simple one. Do with it as you will, right? I'm not here to force anything down your neck. Pause. I am simply here. Oh, that's funny. Right after that. Yeah. But I'm simply here to bring awareness and just be honest with you. Have the conversation with you that you're probably having with yourself, or that nobody else is willing to speak on, in order for you to make the necessary shifts in your life that are going to be beneficial to you and then to everybody else around you. Because it's only the originals, only the authentic that make a true difference within this world. Period.